Kevin Nash came into the company, I believe, when you were there. Do you think he hurt the company when he came in because he didn't want to put any the X Division guys over, or do you think he helped the company?
See, that I got to tell, I don't know where that comes from, because the Kevin Nash that I worked with helped the X Division guys more than anybody else I ever worked with. But again, it's like with the internet, you know, people like Nash, people like Russo, you get this reputation, and all of a sudden they want to believe. Nobody helped the X Division guys more than Kevin Nash, and nobody liked Kevin Nash more than the X Division guys. So I have no idea where that even comes from. Kevin never once in his life told me, I don't want to put so-and-so over, ever.
Is there a Kevin Nash story you can tell?
Oh, man, let's see. There's so many of them.
Was he the man?
Oh, he's honestly the funniest guy I know. I mean, but most of his jokes are all gay stuff. But, I mean, it makes me laugh. I giggle for hours.
Locker room chat.
Oh, yeah.
The gay stuff is fantastic.
You know,
It's
there's
gold.
nothing funnier than a couple gay jokes. With wrestlers and gay jokes, I don't know what the connection is but we love them.
We can't print them in a book.
We can't get enough of them. I mean, we've done several skits where half the footage we can't even use.
That sit-down stuff with Nash was so amazing. And
Yeah.
to which I've told people, like, and I probably told Alex Shelley, like, that's the best TV stuff, like, I'd ever seen for a while. Like, and I'll never say that, like, you know, like, as good as wrestling gets, it's never going to be, like, I'm always going to, like, Parks and Rec will always be way more awesome. But,
Right.
like, that was almost equivalent to, like, really good TV.
And I know the secret. I know the reason why, and that's because there was nothing written. There was no scripts. I mean, probably because Kevin wouldn't have followed a script anyway. But they honestly sat us down. JB hit record on the camera, and he gave us a topic, and Kevin just let it, and if he starts one or two gay jokes, that gives us the okay, right. And then the whole thing becomes a whole giant gay joke. I mean,
but I mean, obviously the stuff that made the Spike TV wasn't. I mean, man, there was some comedy gold in that. Like I know everyone that looked forward to watching TNA. Specifically, were they Paparazzi Production?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
That stuff was genius.
I loved it. Was probably one of the best times I've ever had in the wrestling business. Just getting to work with Kevin Nash. He's so fun.
And so he took a liking to all you X Division guys. Or I mean, you guys are the I guess the redhead stepchild. Is that what it is, or whatever? And he maybe he doesn't seem much of a corporate man. Although dealing wise, he seems like a corporate genius.
Oh, he's the best. He's the best.
You were a part of one of my favorite periods ever in TNA, which was 2007 Kevin Nash Paparazzi Championship Series.
Oh, the best.
Man, that was those vignettes with Nash were hilarious. I mean, you guys were having a lot of fun. Real briefly, what was that like? And do you think that Kevin Nash could still be a player, have a role in like a major company right now? You know, seeing how he was used there.
Yeah, I actually, I'll take that last part first. Yes, I think he does have something to contribute. He does have something to contribute, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. I think he definitely does in today's age. I think I've always said this, he's the coolest 50-year-old that you'll ever meet, and that'll probably ever be. I aspire to be as cool and hip as him when I turn that age, which I probably won't. But he's definitely set the bar pretty high. He's very in tune with what is popular, what is hip, what is going today, which I think that he's kind of lapsed his peers in, where a lot of people didn't change with the times, where he kind of adapted and figured out what is cool and how do I reach this new audience that wasn't around 10 years ago when I was on television. I think he's definitely got something to contribute. He's probably one of the smartest men that I ever met in wrestling, and those Paparazzi Championship Series stuff, man. If you thought the stuff that aired was funny, Jeremy Borash is sitting on a gold mine of all the stuff that we could not air due to various reasons, whether it be cursing, whether it be just completely inappropriate jokes. But we had a blast, man. That was some of the most fun stuff ever. And I remember we would shoot it at the end of the night, so that the arena was clear. Everyone, production had gone home. I mean, you name it. There was not one person in that building except just us that were associated with the show, and it was JB with a camera. All of us, no script, no story, no nothing. Just go out there and have fun, and that's exactly what we did, man. It was, man, to see even low key laughing and having a blast. It was awesome.
Oh,
Good
man.
times.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, you could tell how much fun you guys were having doing those, because it was you and it was Lethal. Was it Shelley? Saban?
Shelley, I think Austin Aries, and the cool part about it was, man, behind the scenes, that kind of that little group that you saw on TV, me and Lethal and Shelley, and we were best friends on and off, off screen. We were best friends, and it was just kind of how we acted with no camera around. And then JB just stuck a camera in front of us and said, "Okay, just do what you guys usually do in the locker room." Okay, sure. And then throw Kevin in the mix. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. And it was cool because Kevin, he took to us as soon as he walked into the doors of TNA. Man, he wouldn't even change. There was a separate big star changing room, and he never was in there. He was just hanging out with us in this little trailer. All the X-Division kids hanging out with us, laughing and cutting up. So it was cool to just say, hey, you know what? We're just gonna put a camera on you guys now.
Anytime a veteran talent or somebody that's been around a really long time, when they get overexposed or they're used way too much, it's 120% because of creative. It's never because of the talent. If Kevin Nash is on 10 segments a night, he's not going to management and complaining and saying, hey, I need more TV time. Hey, I need a 20-minute match. Hey, I need a promo. It's just because management books him that way. From my experience, working with him and talking with him, all the veteran guys are willing to do whatever it takes and anything they want to do to get the younger guys over. I remember Kevin Nash one night was telling me how much and how hard he was trying to relay to management that he wanted to get Samoa Joe over in this thing they were doing, a programmer angle where first Nash was like coaching him or mentoring him, and then there was a turn and there was an angle. And he said creative kept booking it wrong, and they kept giving Nash like all the time. And he said by the end of the program, Nash came out on top. And that's not what he wanted. That's not what was best for business, but that's what ended up happening.
Thoughts on Kevin Nash and his time in TNA? Do you think TNA ever got anything for their money?
I think that they would have better used Kevin behind the scenes in terms of mentality. Like, I think he's got great ideas for the stuff, for making these different, for presenting things a certain way. I don't think his work in the ring was bad in that respect. Like, the stuff that they did with him, that was their choice. I never thought he was phoning it in. I never was like, geez, this guy's just taking up money or anything. You know what I mean? He worked hard. He wanted to do stuff. He was never he never phoned it in my experience when we was working together. But it's hard to say what was the right way to use him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He put certain people over when they needed to. I never saw anything where I was like, well, that's a complete blatant misuse of Kevin. But I think he would have been really well. I wish that they had given the opportunity to maybe do more creatively with him. I mean, with him in the creative position.
If you don't mind switching gears.
I don't.
Is the incident with Chris Sabin in TNA with the Dudleys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and obviously throw Kevin Nash in there as well. I mean, this is a situation that's breaking
I feel
up.
very strongly about this. I was absolutely outraged. Okay, the Dudleys should be fired. The referee should be fired. Whoever was at the gorilla position should be fired.
Okay.
Chris Sabin was out for 7 minutes.
Yep.
7 minutes. And the friggin' Dudleys, those talentless loads, who couldn't draw a dime if you dipped them in super glue and dragged them through a bank, but if you dipped one in Crisco and deep fried them, the other one might eat them.
Right.
Those guys are just worried about getting their own crap in.
I agree.
They just kept the match going. They put Chris Sabin in great danger. I talked to a third party who spoke with Alex Shelley, and he said he thought Chris Sabin was paralyzed.
Wow.
He said he thought his teammate was out there paralyzed, and these guys just had to get their stuff in because that's how the Dudleys are. They're among the most selfish performers in the history of this business. The referee knew what was going on. He didn't stop it. I don't know who was at the gorilla position. I'm assuming Terry Taylor. And he didn't stop it. Inexcusable. I don't blame Kevin Nash at all. And by way of disclaimer, most people know out there that Kevin Nash and I are good friends.
Sure.
But the objective of everyone involved in this business is to protect everyone else involved in this business, because if you don't do that, you have injury upon injury upon injury. You're supposed to take care of the other guy.
Sure.
The Dudleys didn't, the referee didn't, the guy at the gorilla position didn't. They should all be fired. And Dixie Carter, the only word to describe her was mark. She's about as equipped to run a wrestling company as I am to be on the U.S. Olympic 4x100 meter relay team. She should get somebody in charge who has some guts, who knows what they're doing, and just get out of the way. Because this is exemplary of how control has been lost. Not Kevin Nash yelling at the Dudleys or Terry Kent or whoever, but the fact that he had to. That somebody else didn't step in, somebody in charge, like a Vince Russo or whoever, and say to the Dudleys, what are you doing? That's inexcusable.
Well, let me ask, because, there's a lot of contradicting things out there by those guys that, whether you consider them credible or not. Obviously, some of the journalists and some of the reporters that I see out there kind of taking that different approach and blaming Kevin Nash, actually, for going into business for himself, walking out and acting the way that he acted. And as far as your thoughts, obviously we can see where, and I think I lean more toward what you're saying as opposed to what they say. That being said, is in your mind, do you think that maybe Kevin Nash could have handled it a bit better?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Because as you're saying that they should be,
it certainly made its point.
I agree, and maybe he felt like he had to take it as far as he did. Although at the time and in the heat of the moment, you probably aren't thinking necessarily as rational as you could if you calm down and then address it. But at the same time, a lot of these people are going even as far to say as that he should be fired, or at least sit home for a few months for the way that he acted on live pay-per-view.
Well, Kev has a guaranteed contract. I'm not sure how upset he'd be if he got fired.
Well, good point.
Secondly, it's all on tape. It wasn't like what Kevin did go on live TV. It just got on tape. You see, that makes what happened with the Dudleys and Saban even less forgivable.
Well, it's true.
It was on tape. It wasn't live. You could just do it over again next week.
That's actually a good point.
If it turned out Saban was okay. And as far as what Kevin did, it's on tape too. It's not like he went into business for himself on live TV. Only on live TV, Chris, is it really going into business for yourself. When you do it on tape, it's just being a jerk.
That's true. No, I agree with you. And I think that, let me ask, I don't know what you've heard, since then. Is anything going to be handed out to anybody that you know of?
I think Kevin will probably get sent home for a while.
Wow.
Which goes to show you what the insanity of that place is like.
Sure.
Because it's the insanity of the people who, quote unquote, report on this sport for the various internet sites too, Chris. Because think about this: somebody almost got paralyzed.
Right.
He was unconscious in the ring, and they didn't stop the match. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the accounts I've read say that Devon Dudley actually gorilla slammed Saban while Saban was out. Is that correct?
That's the way that I read it too.
Okay. Those guys, nobody's mad at. The guy who called to attention how insane that whole sequence was is the guy that the sheets and the websites are mad at. That is absolute insanity. That's because they don't like Kevin Nash in the first place, and because they like the Dudleys, because the Dudleys, and if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times, they stand for the tradition of the business. They're about locker room respect. Let me tell you something. The only respect that fat piece of trash Bubba Ray Dudley could ever get is the kind he invents through a charade like this. I can tell you a few inside things about everything that's going on at TNA. One thing, the young guys sided with Nash.
Oh, I'm
okay,
sure.
I know from an eyewitness, Nash got a bunch of high fives from the younger guys
Doesn't surprise
at
me.
TNA after his outburst because they're tired of being cannon fodder for the older guys, not in terms of push, but in terms of protection. Okay, getting potatoed by clumsy fat bastards like Bubba Ray Dudley.
Sure.
Okay,